Over the last 21 hours or so, those who are keen and observant must have noticed a very important, key, game-changing development linked to the two elections. This development has taken many people completely by surprise. But if you have been following this channel, you will know that we revealed a few days ago about what happens on social media, or rather what has been happening on social media that impacts our politics in a big way. And so it is super fascinating that this development has taken place less than 2 weeks after that expose. What do I mean? And how will this impact on the results of the August 9th, 2022 general elections? That is what I'm going to tackle on our show today. Karibu sana and enjoy. I'm not sure if you've noticed this yet, but there has been a very major development in one of the tools used in electioneering. Actually a key tool. Actually a shift. And this shift is bound to have a huge impact in what happens on August 9th, 2022. That's the date of the elections. I'm of course talking about propaganda by both sides of the political divide. Now, I want you to carefully observe the following chain of events. I'm not saying anything. I'm not accusing anybody. First of all, I just want us to recognize this particular chain of events. Dennis Itumbi, the master propagandist of the deputy president, was kidnapped, tortured, allegedly, because anything is possible in politics, especially in this season. But we saw him come out of hospital, and it looked quite serious. I'm going to do a video on that later on this week. So let's not go very deeply into that. And then after he comes out of hospital, the influence and domination of Team Tangatanga on Twitter diminishes very dramatically. And then about 20 hours ago, something happens on social media. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm sure you've all heard of the famed Room 350. In my opinion, Wakenya wako na shida ya akili. Or is it that some of us are too old-fashioned, too old school, too conservative? Anyway, this issue of Room 350 is the first time on social media since the beginning of the career of a man called Dennis Itumbi for the side which this blogger represents to be on the receiving end. I mean, that attack was vicious. Now, can we step back and look at that chain of events? Are there any links? Are those events even related? I don't know. I don't have any information. However, it is very important for us to take note of the change. Because what has happened, in my view, is a coup in social media. A coup which removed one power and replaced it with another. Now, of course, we all know that politics is a very dirty game. We also know that each side of the political divide must have their fixers, people who handle problems effectively. Yeah, because all this is important towards winning an election. In 2017, one side of the political divide completely ruled and dominated social media and propaganda in our country. There was nobody to stop them. The other side had no response. But in 2022, clearly things are going to be different, for better or for worse. I guess it depends on which side of the political divide you support. Now I can already hear somebody complaining and telling me, Chris, be a journalist, do your work. You're supposed to start by telling us whether this thing is true or not. Well, I beg to differ. That can be a separate piece, an investigative piece, by people, definitely not us on this channel. And that is why this video is about the political impact. Because in politics, it does not matter, or rather it matters very little, whether something is true or not. What matters is the impact that information has, false or true, on the voting public, and the perception it creates. And that's what we're dealing with here today. Which brings us to the other issue. Now, in other developed countries, especially the US, immediately somebody decides to present themselves for an election, there are people, who they must go through, specialists. And the first question they ask them is, what in your life do you have to hide? And the reason they ask this question is not to embarrass the would-be politician. No. Because as long as you're human, everybody has got skeletons in their closet. Get ahead of that scandal so that your team knows how to handle things when somebody tries to bring up that story, or when a nosy investigative journalist exposes you later on during the campaign. Because in case you didn't know, in every political campaign anywhere in the world, people will always dig up dirt from your past as people head closer and closer to polling day. And of course, Kenya is no exception. However, in Kenya things are a little different. Because for instance, your past mambo ya kitanda, manenos, hardly has an impact. That is what has happened in the past. It is not very important to our voters, unfortunately. But that is the situation, or rather that has been the situation in the past. And so the question is, will it be a major issue? Will things change in Kenya this time, so that mambo ya kitanda is going to be a major issue in the 2022 polls? What do you think? In my opinion, judging from what has happened, what is still developing, over the room 350 manenos. It is clear that this time round, even if things don't change completely, they will be different. Now I want to remind you of a video I made a few months ago. I tried to make a prediction and I said the 2022 polls will be all about the character of a man, the character of a woman. This is going to be terribly important to voters. And it would seem that the latest developments have given us a clear indication that actually this is going to come to pass. This is going to be a major issue in 2022. In my opinion, it is a good thing for Kenyans because the character of your leader is important. And you cannot do what I have seen some staunch supporters of some politicians doing, where they come out and say, leave so and so alone. Stop this. Leave so and so alone. Now. If you want to be left alone, leave office. Abandon the idea of contesting a political seat. Then nobody will be interested in you. That is the truth. But as long as you seek public office, unfortunately, you cannot be left alone. You can't. How? Let me end our show today by asking a question, which I want you to answer. Is Robert Alai the new Dennis Itumbi? Tafakari hayo. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.